doing? Now nobody knows what each other's doing. Now you have
Now everybody has Porzingis.
Now everybody has Porzingis. Cat's like, what the hell's going on? Now I got to get up here. Josh Hart, that's supposed to be you. You're supposed to be there. But Josh Hart is pointing towards him like you're supposed to be up there. And by the way, look who's butt naked in the corner.
Not him.
Who's right
Not him. Anybody but him.
Boom. Kick out three. Great read by Jaylen Brown. Splash. 3-point shot being made.
2 minutes, 2 points.
1 minute into the game.
I'm calling the timeout.
1 minute into the game. 1 minute into the game.
I'm burning the timeout.
Let's go next play. In transition defense again. Jaylen Brown doing a great job probing. Everybody's trying to get back to protect the rim. Once again, we'll do it in blue. Getting back. Getting back.
Brunson should get him the elbow.
Getting back.
He should see a wall.
Okay, so I got to do this right here because this is always fun. What's going on right here? What's going on right there? So who are you guarding, Kat? Are you guarding Derek White? Or are you guarding Luke Cornett? Because you're dragging in the whole scenario in transition. But as the play develops, once again, I'll do it in slow-mo. Let's see. Everybody gets back. Everybody gets below the free throw line. Trying to get back to guard here. But once again, slow-mo, Derek White.
And for basketball people at home, the trail is always the easiest guy to pick up. The trailer is always the easiest guy to pick up.
So, granted, once again, want to give Jaylen Brown a lot of love.
Yeah.
Great job of managing the game, 12 assists. But as UD and I watch it, it becomes more and more atrocious. Their transition defense was horrible on finding shooters.
Until a guy like Derek White, to get him easy ones early like that, just to get him going, this carries over.
There's one thing we've seen, and we've said it before, you can't fake urgency. The Celtics last night had their backs against the wall just as they Game 3 last night, they did it without their superstar. I want you to hear an exchange after the game. Josh Hart was asked if Game 6, which will be at the Garden tomorrow night, is a must-win. He didn't like the question.
How important is it to get the W in this very next game at home?
I mean, that's just such a stupid question. I mean, every game you want to win, bro. Like, there's no added anything. Like, every game you want to go out there and win. It doesn't matter where, if it's at home or away. Like all that question is stupidity to me. Every game you go out there, you want to win. You want to compete at the highest level, and obviously we didn't do that. And next game's our next game, and that's all we're focusing on, is getting a win.
So I understand why he would take that position, but we're not in that position. We can speak the honest truth. Monica, you're with this team literally every day. You were with them last night. You were on the delayed flight back because of fog last night. Got home 2:30 in the morning is when they land, and here she is this morning. Do you feel like if the Knicks are going to win this series, they have to do it at home tomorrow night?
I do feel that way. And now, there's something that gives me confidence in this. When you look at this team when they suffer losses, particularly Jalen Brunson, after a loss, the next game, he's averaging like 36 points, and they've gone on to win, particularly in this postseason. So they do relish the opportunity, Greeny, to respond. But to your point about urgency, if someone says change your diet or you're going to die, that's far more urgent than change your diet because summer's coming up. And you just could not manufacture the urgency that the Celtics were playing with. And Jaylen Brown played with a ton of pride. Our vantage point on the radio side is closer to the Celtics bench. After the third quarter exchange between he and Josh Hart, you could see him walking on the bench, standing up in front of the coaches, talking to his teammates, saying, let's go, let's make sure we take care of business. I couldn't exactly fully lip read, but the sentiment was very clearly that he was taking a leadership role both vocally and on the court. And so I got to give the Celtics their credit.
I mean, I know what you're going to say. I know what you're supposed to say, but I know how you feel.
Right.
You're shaking like a 72 Chevy right now. Ooh. You do not want to go back to Boston. I've been in that situation where we went up 3, and they came back and tied it, and we had to go back to Boston. I was nervous. I didn't tell my guys that. As a leader, they would never know that, but I was nervous going back into Boston. So you don't want that situation. You want to end this right now if you're New York, and they know that.
Someone that's been in a 72 Chevy. It's all about the mechanic, and if you can get it riding smooth, it'll work, and that's exactly what the Knicks had to do. They've got everything you just showed there, by the way, mind-blowing, about how they went from a team in Game 4 that was very connected defensively to a team that it was all, it's you, no, that's you, no, that's you. Nobody wanted to take control out on the court. It's something now I've interviewed Josh Hart a million times. That's how he is after losses. Yeah. So I wouldn't put too much into what he said. More or less, he's annoyed. He's got a cut over his face. That was a rough game. But the other game, Game 4, he gave credit to a guy who hasn't played a minute in the playoffs.
I'm glad you're going there.
P.J. Tucker, who is a champion, who is a guy that understands defense and connection and communication. And he credited P.J. Tucker for getting them, after Game 3, on the same page, understanding the importance of accountability after a botched defensive play. Like 1 minute in, to get everybody together and get some accountability. That did not happen in this game.
So who is it that has to? We talked yesterday about how it's got to be Jaylen Brown, and the Celtics have to get somebody else, and they got those somebody else's last night, Derek White and Luke Cornett, who had the game of his life. And Derek White was typically terrific, and you just showed how perhaps the Knicks defense didn't do a good enough job on him. For the Knicks tomorrow night, if they're going to do this, if they're going to knock out the champ, who is it that has to carry the load along with Jalen Brunson?
Jalen Brunson, period.
That's
Period.
it.
Full stop.
But can one player do
If
that?
Jalen Brunson plays well, the trickle-down effect is everybody else. That is what it has been through this season. That is what it has been through this postseason. He has to play well, and frankly, yesterday, he did not play well. Now I'm going back to my life.
No, you know what?
I respect that. I love that.
In all honesty,
That's it.
We've been doing this show 7 years. That's the first time someone has repositioned during a question, and I really liked it. That we could put that one in the back pocket. We might use
Just
that
to
again.
add to that on what Monica said, I do trust the Knicks when the game is tight in crunch time. But there is something that is different about this Boston team now. It feels like they are talented, but it feels like they're playing with a sense of urgency.
Not only that,
which is different.
When you lose your star,
Yes,
the
that's what I'm
pressure
saying.
goes off. The expectation is now no longer that they win. The Celtics went from the overwhelming favorite to the underdog. Now they're Rocky. We use that analogy, cut me, Mick, or whatever it is.
Yes.
The Knicks are now favored, both literally and figuratively, to win the series because the Celtics are playing without their first-team All-NBA star. I think the pressure is squarely on the Knicks, and what I was actually trying to lead someone to is, can Karl Anthony Towns win a game for you? Can there be one game that you look back on and say, hey, we
just
went out,
played
we
good
got
game
this
four.
guy,
There's
and he
evidence.
won us this game?
There's evidence.
Great game for him.
When's that going to happen?
Last year in Denver,
Yeah.
Anthony Towns was a difference maker in knocking out Jokic and the defending champs for the Minnesota Timberwolves. There is evidence that he is that guy.
They find ways to make plays. Jalen Brunson can't be the only person that you're counting on. Karl Anthony Towns is a superstar in the NBA.
No, he's
you need
not.
him to win.
No, he's not. No, he's not. He is not a superstar.
I agree with you.
Okay.
But he has that word written next to his name somewhere, right? Or close to it.
Multi-time All-Star.
Second team All-NBA and all that kind of stuff. He's paid like one. He is treated like one. Can he play like one in a game with their season? I think their season is on the line. If the series goes back to Boston for a Game 7, look, I guess anything can happen. The Knicks